Me, I'm Christian. I've been with Test Solutions since for a year now, and I've been there as a tester. And I'm also a student at ALU, second year in software engineering. So it's nice to be here and being again with the peers. Hope we have a good time discussing and sharing opinions in this one. Thank you.
So I will share the screen, probably, Enis.
Yeah,
Or Patrick,
please,
do you want to
please go
share,
ahead,
or
or
I can
Patrick.
share? Okay, let me share. Mm, mm, mhm. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, it's there.
Good.
So let's just jump right to slide number 3. And if you could go to presentation mode, then we have
Presentation.
it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we put together quite a brief and interesting presentation that really is there's something in I believe for everyone should be interesting, and you should be able really to take something from it, from this. So the next half an hour with a QA at the end starts with a little zoom out. So now we are zooming out to Germany and going to our mother company, which is Test Solutions, that was founded in 2007 in Frankfurt, in the heart of Germany. Started with 2 people, up to 200 employees that we are today. We have a very diverse team from 22 nationalities, with offices currently in Frankfurt, where the headquarter is. Then we opened an office recently in Berlin. We have one in India, where we have 50 people working for us from Pune, and now Rwanda, of course. So with this workforce, with this more than 200 people, we can proudly say that we are the preferred software testing provider for the Lufthansa Group. So the Lufthansa Group is not only Lufthansa, but also other airlines like Austrian and Brussels. And here we are, together with the Tata Consultancy Group, we are the preferred provider, meaning whenever Lufthansa is working on a new IT project or developing some software that needs to be tested, then we are coming in. We have an own QA academy that differentiates us from other German software testing companies. That means we have a strong focus on in-house training. We teach our own people because we know we always have to work according to the highest standards, especially in the aviation industry. It's of the essence. And at the same time, we're trying to certify. So software testing is a profession where certification is very important, because in the end you need to have the same standard. You need to understand your counterpart. Everyone should be speaking the same language. And in Rwanda, we are also part of the Rwanda Software Testing Qualification Board. Isabel is the vice president there. And this really shows our commitment to both countries. So if you could go to the next slide. Towards Rwanda, we work as, let's say, lobbyist for quality assurance, because it's still a profession quite young compared to Germany, where you find people with 20, 25 years of experience. It's still quite a young profession in Rwanda, and we're doing our best to support the tech community in building up this profession and make it grow more and more. That's why we reach out to ALU as well, because we believe we can be very great partners in spreading the news. That's the one direction. The other direction is towards Germany. So me being based here in Berlin, I work a lot with politicians, decision makers, and businesses where we say, or where we are trying to label Rwanda as a potential opportunity for IT services. We believe Rwanda is the best place. Even though we have an office in India as well, we believe that Rwanda has many advantages. One advantage is, really speaking, very pure business, the same time zone. Because a lot of projects that we do are integrated internationally together with our German client. So we have Lufthansa, but we also have many others. And to have this integration really to the maximum, it's great to have the same time zone. Not only that, of course, in Rwanda, you have a great labor force. So we see that from universities like ALU, we, as IT is medium-sized enterprise, we see that the right talent is there, and that we find people who speak English well and who are interested to start a career and grow the career in IT. Another important element is that Kigali is a very safe city. Not only that it's very clean, it's also very safe. So this is particularly important when we bring our clients to Rwanda, which happens every now and then. We need to make sure that both teams are integrated as much as possible. With that, I would hand over to Isabel for the next slide to give you a little bit more an impression of where we are currently in Rwanda.
Okay, thank you, Yanis. And while I'll be presenting, I will present two aspects: Test Solutions Rwanda, status quo, and also I will touch base on the software testing and quality assurance practices and importance. Please note your question if you have them, and then we'll have time for questions. Test Solutions Rwanda, as Yanis said, it was established in 2022 from our mother company, Test Solutions Germany, that was looking to expand its business and then chooses Rwanda as the place to open the off-the-shore office. So from that time, Test Solutions has been involved in different strategic partners, including government, and there are other leading companies in Kigali, because our staff were already testers for some times. So we even started to provide service to the international and the local clients. We are able to service our local clients, even the international clients, because we work hand in hand with our mother company, Frankfurt head office. If you can ask me if it's two separate entities, I would say no. Then jump on the background now with software testing. Software testing it's quite still new on the Rwandan market, if it's not Africa in general, but I was speaking in Rwandan context. I was among the pioneers back in 2029, sorry, back 2019 when it was introduced from the program. So we trained, we were 50 women trained in this, but honestly speaking, we were not seeing software testing as a career. But see, until now, I'm still in the career because I've found that what software test is actually, it's a fundamental part of the software development when it comes to the business side of it and the users aspect. So that's what attracted me to stay in the career and also evolving as it evolves and keep learning. So most of the time you will hear software testing. I know ALU has a software engineering department, and most of the students know that from the software development lifecycle there is a phase that is dedicated to testing. But when we are speaking about testing as a professional testing, we are not referring to that specific phase, rather the whole new software lifecycle, software testing lifecycle, which I will introduce to you in the next slide. So from here, I can tell you that software testing is to check the effectiveness and efficiency of the system and the test also for the user perspective. So you most hear people say they are QAs or they are software testers and get confused on that. There are two different things, but falls under a same umbrella, if I may say. The umbrella of quality assurance management. Then there is software testing, so it's quality assurance practice and also software testing practices. Software quality assurance is more of process, is where the company set some guidelines or some protocol, some procedures in place to assure the product they are developing, they are meeting some certain standards, either organizational standards, either international standards. Now, software testing, now it comes handy now to check or to assess or to verify and validate if the standards or the processes put in place by the quality assurance process have been considered during the process of software development. That in outcome, then the software or the application, the system will have the quality, the product will be having the highest quality expected from the organization itself, and also the quality expected by the users or the person who pays for the solution. I hope these two is better understanding, but I will answer a question if they still have some ambiguity on this. So then this is a software development lifecycle, which I hope everyone knows. I just bring it up here to just remember and remind you how the phases are, and then how they are aligned or differ a little bit from the now software testing life cycle. From the software development life cycle, we have these 6 phases. There is a phase of requirement gathering, analysis, design, implementation, testing, and then deployment. The traditional testing was only to focus on phase number 5. After all first 4 phases, and then phase of testing, usually on the UAT level, user acceptance level, prior to be deployed on production. However, in software testing lifecycle, this is the software testing lifecycle now, is the whole completely new cycle that touches all phases in software development lifecycle. Like in requirement gathering, where developers and business analysts are putting together requirements for the surface of the solution to be developed, testers in this phase, what we do for us, we now review the requirement that have been written to check if they are testable, to check if they have acceptance criteria, if they have actions to be developed, and then those actions later on they will be validated. So here the use of the importance of the tester is really to flag any issue earlier on in the phase of requirements gathering or design, to also make sure that the business analysts or developers, both stakeholders, are understanding what could be the final product. Okay. Also for the testers to know what could be the exit criteria, what the solution, what the product should do to validate its efficiency. Now, in the phase of analysis, how tester go about analysis phase. In the analysis phase, testers analyzing the requirement for its completeness, testability, and clarity. Okay, and then we document all of that. For the design, then here we write some test cases. We write some test cases that respond to each business requirement. For example, if there is a requirement said a login should have a two-factor authentication, for us in design, we will make sure we design more, let's say, negative, positive, and edge test cases. You might find the written 4 test cases to only respond to one requirement, business requirement to be fulfilled. So in this phase of design, we write intense and several test cases that will later be tested to make sure the business requirements are functional, okay, and validate them. Here, it's all about putting together analysis on this phase. Here, we analyze what we call test conditions. We write down test conditions. What is the condition to be fulfilled? And then design, we write a test to test those conditions and also put together the data. In the phase of implementation, now we configure and set up our test environments and gather data. We'll be using test data. If there are specific data to be used, if you're testing a banking system, for example, probably you will need a credit card, a valid account number, maybe an ID, a valid ID. Here in this phase of implementation, you are setting up your environment and you run a test to see if your configurations are well configured, ready to be now the next phase of execution, now to run the tests. In this phase of implementation, definitely you work hand in hand with developers or any other stakeholders, DevOps probably, if that team has DevOps guys, to configure the environment. Here, then you flag all technical issues you are facing prior to the execution. And when you are configuring the environment, or you or a DevOps or an engineer who's helping you with the setting up your environment test, the one condition is that they should be 100% mimicking the production environment. Because when you are testing on one tester environment, what runs in your environment, like say QA environment or staging, or how we call it technically, if it passes, it must pass as well on production. If doesn't, then you need to check either the environment you're working in is mimicking or is simulating the production environment, or it's different, or is a problem of data and so on, but not the analysis and not the test conditions. And then for the execution phase, now you are running the tests. For implementation, you also configure, sorry, to go back again, your test management tools. Actually, it's every tool you will use in your testing, you have to be implemented, configured or set it up in the implementation phase. For execution is now to run the test itself. It can be run manually, can be run, or is an automation, you run the automation scripts, or if it's a performance and not a performance, then you need to run your script as well to in the tool, in this designed tool. Then you indicate the status of the result. It's either pass, it either failed, or is not even executable. Then you put the statuses of each test you run in the execution phase. Then after you execute your test, there will be the next phase, which is a test closure. For the test closure, usually is being done by the role or the person called test manager. Maybe also touch base on the roles. Test manager now, together with the test analyst, they compile, they write the report. Either they can extract, then it can extract the report from a test management tool they're using, they're different, or in the Excel, or in any case. But here, the main thing to do is to do the report showing the aggregate, what passes, what fails, which coverage, how coverage have been tested or designed. And then this report is submitted to all stakeholders. So when I say stakeholders, it's everyone involved in this testing, in this software development, either developers, either business analysts, project managers, product owners, depends on if you're using agile methodology. And then for them, any decision maker to read and understand the report, to take decision prior, then to go back, then to deploy on production. So you can see that there is a software development life cycle that developer has, but also there is a testing life cycle that is a whole complete phases that complement each other for effective and efficiency software quality in the end. I mentioned, maybe probably I can, before this, I can say what are the types of testing. This is our specialties in testing. Not only this, but I just picked the most popular ones. I touch base on manual testers as a role. There's a manual tester, there is the automation tester, there is a security tester, there are performance tester, there are several tons. There are compliances tester, there are accessibility testers. For this, you'll find that someone would choose to either create a career in software testing as just a performance tester. So what a software performance tester will do as a career? A performance tester, for him, is more of, now they're assuring to look into optimization of the responsiveness and scalability of the software under the loads. These are the people, look at an example. For example, if you are deploying your system and it's a ticketing system, probably to go to watch the match, football or cinema. A performance tester, you'll be the person who will be the person who's looking into the scalability of the server. At which stage our system get crashed, when there is let's say 1,000 users login concurrently, and then how our system behave. So that will be one portion of a role as a software performance tester will be looking at by performing what we call load and performance test. You'll find also another person, he's just focusing on test automation. For him, or for her, he enjoys writing script, even though even performance tests, there's some scripts as well. But typically, it's for test automation engineer is the one now automating all the UI of the system to reduce the time consumed by the manual testers when they're running tests manually one by one. Let's suppose you have 1,000 test cases to run, but for the automation engineer might combine some of the tests and then write a script that will be reusable to run a regression test. Once you deploy, and this script can be also integrated in your pipeline if you're using CI/CD pipeline. So not only you need, then you're not much rely on the manual testers, rather you'll be rerun your regression test suite that your automation engineer wrote for you to ease the job and to reduce that time you consume before you go pro. Another role is a security tester. Most of the time, people not confused, but with the cybersecurity, for us is not a cybersecurity, even though it can also be for
Did we lose our dear Isabel?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you can still see the screen.
No.
Oops, let me share again.
We also don't see you. The camera is black. Just that you know, in case you're trying to make a
because I
certain
was
face for a
presenting, I
certain
couldn't
slide.
say on only sync slide, and then I didn't realize.
I think we can all go off camera so it will stabilize the internet a bit for him. The connectivity may be better when we are off camera.
Okay, let's do that.
Is my screen back?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't know when I was frozen. What was I?
Security testing.
Okay, actually, just a few seconds. Yeah, security testing. In the security testing, what we do as a tester, usually we ensure the software application is protected. Then for us, we run the vulnerability test to identify some holes in the system, network system that can be vulnerable for or prone to be hacked easily, and how we give our optimization recommendation, how to optimize this, the system or the application. For the API testing, remember I'm talking about the type of testing, also with roles available in the software testing. Not only these ones, there are several. These are engineers only. Yeah. API testing engineer is usually the person can also be a test automation engineer, but this time is only focusing on validating the functionality and reliability, the security of the system under the API calls. So you can either do it manually via tools available on the market, could be Postman, Newman, or can also be automated. So for all these roles and the type of test I mentioned here is typically engineering. So the person who understands a bit of codes and who enjoys us to writing code. But not only these ones, there are also several other roles. I mentioned test analysis. It's been done by test analyst. It's a separate pathway. There is engineering pathway and also a pathway for analysts and the manual and test managers and process managers. They're different. So, and then let's talk, while I'm still on this slide, maybe I can touch base as well on the importance. Why should we test and why do we test actually? To test, I can say have four main advantages. One is to enhance software quality. By doing what? How can we enhance our software quality? We enhance software quality by applying the best practices identified and address defects earlier in the development process. This can lead to more robust and reliable software. The second importance is to improve the user satisfaction now. How do we improve the user satisfaction? It's by ensuring the software functionality aligns with the user requirements. Remember, I touched base on that. Also, contribute to a more user-friendly and intuitive product. The third importance I can call upon is to increase the efficiency and productivity. By doing this, when you are following the best practice on quality assurance, I mentioned for the first slide, how people can differentiate quality assurance and software testing. By following the process of the quality assurance, we help streamline the software development life cycle by allowing the development teams to focus on feature development and leading to increase for the efficiency and productivity. Because the developer will be focusing on developing and doing their unit test, not bother too much into integration testing, behavior testing, all the system testing, user acceptance testing, until so forth. And then the last importance I would say, or advantage, is to reduce the development cost. Now this is going to come to the side business of it. Early detection of the defects in the product or in the software development, this guarantee to be fixed earlier, and then we save money that you can invest later when you find some failures already in the production, funded either by a user or by another person, because fixing later is costly, and this aligns perfectly with which methodology you are using. If it's agile, it's better because it's sprint. You reflect quickly on the product you have to ship, and then you apply, you give feedback and you apply feedback. When it's waterfall model, probably could be difficult because you probably tested toward the end when the software have been built, and then only give UAT testers or business analysts to look to check their functionality or the business flows. Then if you found the bug or a defect on that stage, it's hard to be fixed. Yeah, actually that was my slide. Then I hope there will be more questions to me to understand better the software testing, but I would like to call upon Christian and also to give us his insight about all of this, and then also share with us what he has to share. Thanks. Welcome, Christian.
Okay, good evening once again. And as she said, I'm going to share like little insights about what she talked about and the activities in software testing, and also a little about my background, how I got into software testing in the first place, because before that I was actually a software developer. So through this way, I'm going to talk about the way of shifting from software developer to the software testing and how the experience has been so far. So starting not too long ago when I was still in high school, as some of you call it as secondary school, I didn't actually do IT subjects. So yeah, I was actually in physics, chemistry, and biology, preparing my way to be some kind of doctor or maybe pharmacist, I don't know. But that changed when I got into my gap year. When I finished my high school, that's when my interest peaked in computers and something like software development and other topics. And I joined a web development bootcamp. The bootcamp lasted for 1 year, and through the gap year, I was through the bootcamp, and after that, I also took another year where I was doing some projects after that, and actually implementing what I have been doing in the bootcamp, and it was going pretty fine. And I had a friend of mine who contacted me and said, okay, I got this job and it is in software testing. At first, I mean, as they said, software testing itself is a new industry or a new field in Rwanda. So I mean, okay, you do software testing, and what do you do exactly? I mean, he told me a little bit. He was also just hired, it hasn't been that long, so he didn't exactly understand it, but he said that, okay, so far it is exciting, and I think you should try it. It's a little bit different from software development because, I mean, software developers in Rwanda now, we are a ton of them. So now trying a new thing was, I would say, more attractive than walking the usual path. So I tried that one. It was actually last year, if I can say, last year in February. That's when I started to go, okay, let me see what this software testing thing is. It was hard at first because not normally learning something when you don't know actually what you are learning can be difficult. Everything may seem useful or everything may seem useless. So that's why I spent considerable time learning, a couple months before March until May, when I joined ALU, because I joined ALU in May last year. And that's where I actually, yeah, still practiced my, did my research on software testing and did some applications on the job postings which were there, because only through viewing job postings and some seminars which were taking place, that's when I could only realize what it is actually software testing. For example, they could post, okay, we are looking for an automation engineer, and then realize, okay, software testing itself has something called automation engineer inside software testing. So that's when I started to realize actually software testing might be bigger than I thought, because from the development background, the only testing I knew was API and unit testing and some integration testing. Other than that, okay, it works. My machine, it works. It works anywhere else. That was the idea. But despite that, I started to realize there may be actually a bigger field which focuses on the quality and the user satisfaction of what has been developed in my usual field of software development. So midterm last year, that's when I got my first interview for software testing. It was actually a company and a pretty strong one, and it has a big name. So I was like, okay, let me do this interview. It might be actually interesting. And we did the interview. It went smooth, and then, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to go through because at the time, as at ALU, your first time is you have to go to school in person. So they were like, okay, we'll see maybe when you're no longer going to class in person, maybe we'll see. At least I would say that was, at first sight, you would say that was a bad experience. But what was the good side of it was that I realized the reason it didn't go through was not because I wasn't skilled enough, but it was because of other circumstances. And I actually passed the interview technically and all the things they asked. So I was like, okay, so far the 4 months haven't been wasted. So I'm on the actual right path. It actually motivated me to continue more research. And 1 week before the first term ended, that's when I was contacted. And we had the first interaction with the Test Solutions Rwanda, which is where I'm still now. And that's when it's had the first interaction, did some interviews and went through the hiring processes, take-home projects. Yeah, tough ones. But it became a little bit easy because for the past months, I've been dealing with some of that. And yeah, I passed. And in August last year, that's when I started as a junior software tester. I mean, it was a title, junior software tester. Explaining it like what I was going to do specifically, I could explain like 40%, or maybe 40% is even an exaggeration, maybe 30%, but the other would come through because software testing itself was not that very clear to me. Lucky for me, when I joined, they had an academy. I think Yanis mentioned they have an internal academy for teaching new testers who are joining and also for the existing one to upskill. It was a great experience for me because within the first 3 months, it was dedicated for learning and upskilling the people who just came through as newcomers. Within those 3 months, I could say I learned many things more than I could have learned in a year because I was getting experience and teachings from the people who have been doing it for like 25 years. In Rwanda, as far as I know at the time, the most experienced people would find in software testing maybe 6 years, 5 years around that time. But you could see now you are being taught by someone who has experience in by 25 years, 20 years. Okay, now they know what to use, what is relevant, what is not, and that's when you can run. Like I was able to learn much easier and in a focused way. Fast forward, I would say until now, after the learnings, we've shifted into like specializations, if I can say. Isabel mentioned about the specializations because after getting the basics of everything, because as software development or anything else starts from HTML and CSS. You just have to get the foundations. That's what I was getting, and after that, you have to go through specializations. For myself, I chose automation. Automations being mainly automating the manual task and testing activities which have been in place. The reason why I chose this because I had a background in software development and programming, so it was much easier for me and exciting to still use the programming experience and skills I had picked up in the year prior to that. So yeah, I decided to go with that field, and then until now I can say I'm certified as an automation engineer, and yeah, the experience is so great. And typically my whole day involves like reviewing the testing activities which are there, evaluating for any potential automation which may be implemented, and after that you also have to make sure that you are maintaining the already ones which are existing. And also you have to convince the people you're working with, the clients or the project you're working on, the need for automation, explain the way you implement it, and also making sure that the automation you're doing brings value to the project you are working on, but also the client acknowledges the value of testing itself. So I'd say testing in general was a great experience, has been a great experience, and until now, it has been great. And I'd say it does come with one challenge though, I would say, because normally in Rwanda, as I said, software testing is a new field. So explaining it to new people who are not familiar with software testing itself. For example, if you say software development, even a non-technical person can get roughly an idea like 60% or 70%. But software testing is different. It's a relatively new field, so explaining it to someone or even sometimes a client that it is something they need to spend much money on, need to last a considerable amount of time compared to the development, that is something which is tough. And I think that is what comes with the software testing in Rwanda specifically. But also one of the rewarding parts of it is that now I'm able to give, like, to be part of the people who are raising awareness about software testing and its presence in Rwanda as a career, and its potential benefits to people who may engage in it, specifically like people who have done software development the background. They will have a good experience in it. And in this case, for example, talking with you, can see that now I've also got a chance to present to you that software testing as a career is also possible, and it welcomes anyone technical and who is willing to do the work. To sum it up, I would say it has been a good experience, and it requires a lot of learning and dedication. And the good thing is that if you are in the right environment, for example, for me, I was in Test Solutions, you get to learn things much easily, and the whole career becomes a streamlined process. Yeah. So that's pretty much the summary on my side of my experience in software testing. Continues to be built on in the coming years, and hopefully we'll be sharing the path along the way. Thank you.
Great. On this slide, there is no any presentation prepared to this. It's more of open. I will share what I think. Yanis will share what he thinks. Already Christian have shared what he thinks. Or we can even then open the flow to the audience and ask some questions. But to add on what just Christian said, Christian is new in this career, and I've been in this career for 5 years. This is the six years. Yeah, 6 years in software testing. I've enjoyed it, and I've created it a career myself, and it's something I would encourage everyone to do if you are passionate about product quality or even a software developer himself, because the developer, they spend nights, building their baby software. In this case, they wouldn't be happy if they find someone is criticizing it or pushing back some tickets to refine some of the work I've spent nights and weeks and months doing. So it's good to have testing and quality assurance in mind as a software developer or a person who a role or a job to help developer look good in their craft. I would encourage everyone who want to explore this as a career to try it and give it a try and then find it by yourself. Yeah. Yanis, do you have something to say?
Yeah, thank you, Isabel,
Maybe on the business. Yeah.
and thank you, Christian. Really, uh, you were very modest now about what you're doing, because I mean, in the time that you started, really not long ago, and already now you're taking over a position as a trainer. You're supporting in social media. Most importantly, you're pushing forward with one of our key projects. That's really an amazing journey, and also what you said now, very interesting. I didn't know that we almost lost you to the doctor and pharmacy side. So happy you took this class, and you changed your path. And let me also for the others do just a little pitch, because in the end we are happy about receiving fitting applications. Um, if you want to be part of a team that works on global projects, that gives you exposure to diverse challenges, and brings you at a very early stage of your career also the chance to collaborate with some of the bright minds in the industry, be it in software testing, but also with the companies, with the project leads, the managers. I would say we have a very close and interesting connection here. What we need basically are people who are out of the box thinkers, who can be little Sherlock Holmes, digital detectives, with a background, either if you are an IT generalist, that can be very helpful. It can also be good if you have a clear focus already, and you say this is one particular skill that you really master. And what we want to do is to build a team that is comprised of very strong individuals that look over the horizon. So that's why we are also speaking to you today at the ALU, because we know that this is the stuff you learn and the mindset you're equipped with. So starting at Test Solutions Rwanda means being software testers, being educated, develop, getting international certifications, but also taking over other roles that are roles of natural roles in a startup. So we are still in an early stage. We have a clear path of growth over the course of the next 2-3 years. So this will be a very exciting and challenging time. And so if you are a fast learner, if you can adapt to new environments easily, then Test Solutions offers taking responsibility in international teams. And all in all, I think a very interesting career path. So please, happy to send to receive your applications. I read before a question about internships. So as of now, we don't really offer internships. We prefer to work with you in a regular working environment and with a regular working contract. But this is definitely something that we will develop over the next month. So I encourage you to apply, but also want you to avoid a few mistakes, and that can be helpful for you also either applying now for Test Solutions or any other company in the future. Just from our experience, Of course, everyone works with AI nowadays, but in order to differentiate yourself with your own words and also your own mistakes, so this is valued. I'm really happy if I find a mistake in a cover letter or in a motivation letter, because this shows me someone was sitting down, investing time, writing a letter, trying to convince us. Much more interesting to read than something created by AI. And you immediately you recognize this is AI. So try really to focus and try to bring your own thoughts into the email or the cover letter. Second part really is to minimize mistakes in your CV. It's sometimes interesting if the cover letter has no mistake at all and the CV is full of little glitches and little mistakes. So always give it to a friend or someone else to go over it, to check it and see if it's suitable, not only in content, but also in the form. Because as an employer, you are looking at it and it needs to be also attractive. You need to make you draw your conclusions very easily and very quickly. And the last point that came to my attention over the last month, in communicating by email, use the right punctuation. Really think about suitable salutation, a closing of your message. So, dear Mr. Janis or dear Mr. Just. This would be much better than just starting with hello. Use little greeting formulas to make it personal and very nice. So it should be friendly, open, and nice. And this will make a huge difference in the end. And you can differentiate yourself from many other applications. With that, if you want to apply, please go ahead. We'll share our email address for this in a moment in the chat. And in your motivation letter, do also refer to this event, maybe with a sentence, what you learned from it, what you found interesting, and why you still think that career in software testing makes sense for you. With that, back to you, Isabel or Patrick. And then we can take some questions.
I think to Patrick, because that was the floor for everybody to ask questions or feedbacks.
All right. Thanks so much, Isabel. And thanks once again, Janice and Christian, our student, for the wonderful experience that you shared. I think we still have a few questions. Someone is asking if there are positions there, and share a link so we can reach out to you. Yes, I believe they will be sharing their contacts. And another person has raised the hand up. Mukunzi, please go for it.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Mukunzi Dero Jameson. I would like to ask for those who applied the internship, software testers internship in test solutions, how can them
Mukunzi, we can't hear you again. I think Mukunzi's line dropped. So if you can take these two, I don't think they are questions. You have somehow addressed them already, but concerning your link, I don't know if it is a link to Mugisha. What link do you want? Is it their email addresses? Okay. So I think you have shared your email addresses. That looks fine. They should be able to reach out to you. And if there's any specific link that you are talking about, Mugisha, kindly clarify so we know what you mean. Mukunzi, you are here. Your line dropped, so continue.
Yes. For my side, I have the kind of experience in software testing, especially in automation testing.
Great.
I would like to join your team in my professional internship. So what is the requirement, or how can I join your team? Because I applied the internship for ARU SPD.
Through what?
ARU SPD. Yeah, I got I saw your application in in our ARU platform. So, and I applied, but I didn't get any response. Right?
In principle, just really please send us a message with a cover letter or a motivation letter that states your background in automation and software testing, and attach your CV to it and send it to the email that I posted in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
And then we can see whether a typical internship position would be the right way forward, or what the next step could be.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think that answered your question. Kunzi, thanks so much for asking and for seeking clarification. So please direct your, okay, so you can see the email there. If you want to direct specific questions, especially regarding internship or other stuff that are a little bit not directly related to this presentation, you can reach out to them. Okay, Elijah ask, will joining the company require an individual to have knowledge for the respective testing fields? As an example, when joining the security testing team, one must have knowledge about cybersecurity. Joining the API testing team, one must have software development knowledge. Is that the case? I think that's a question. So let me take the other question, and then you can come in. I don't know if Isabel or Janice. Thanks so much for the opportunities and insightful presentation. That's really been, it has really broadened my scope of tech. As for young student tech like us, any payment is be required for the software testing program. Okay, so I think the question is whether there's a payment for software testing program. Your question is not too clear, Tower. So if they address it and that is not what you are looking for, you can come again. Please come off mute so we can hear you and get your questions really well, in case you have a difficulty with the typing. Yeah, so Isabel or Janice, any of you could take it. Thank you.
Yeah, I can take on a specific area of testing, either cyber or API. What is the minimum requirement skills we are looking at? Really, we are looking at a person who have at least a background in software development, because we believe that whoever can understand the lines of code and is passionate about continuous learning, anything can be learned. And then you grow with us, and then we train you, you do some research. But as we are quickly evolving and growing, then only the commitment and those development skills are needed.
All right, great. So I think Calvin's question is about whether there will be requirement or a payment be required for the software testing program. Whether the program is sold or it is free. I believe that is the question.
For our academy, probably because Yanis touched base on that, he said we have our internal academy. Once you are hired with Test Solution, there is no fee applied, because we are empowering you to serve us. So there is no fee attached to it, unless it's an individual who want to do some certification testing. That then you will have to get training providers. Test Solution is one of them, but there's also some others on the running market. I think 4 providers so far, and then you pay for your certification through the Rwanda Software Testing Academy, Software Testing Board, which I serve as vice president. But when you are with Test Solution as an employee, everything is covered by the company.
Wonderful, thank you. Mukunzi, your hand is still up. Do you have a question, or this was the first?
Yes. I would like to ask a question. You told us that the testing is classified in 4 types, like security testing and others. So I'd like to ask them, for my side, okay, I would like to tell them what I do, and they will help me to put in that classes if it is possible. Especially I do like unity testing. I use Jest, Mockup. I use the Playwright. For automation, I use Code Climate and the stuff like that. So is it in automation or it is API testing?
Christian, do you want to take that? I can reply, but I want Christian to take it.
Yeah, you mentioned unit testing. Mainly that is expected on the side of developers. It is testing itself, but that is expected on the side of developers themselves. So reaching to the software testing themselves, it's more like on the higher level. Unit testing is more dedicated on developers, and after that, integration and everything else, UI automation, that's when it comes into software testing level. You mentioned also Playwright. Playwright can be used on a Unity level sometimes, but it can also be used on like system level. So I'm not sure on which level you use it, but if it is on the system level, then that applies as automation testing itself and as a specialization. You also mentioned that testing is divided into 4. Actually, it is what we presented before was not the classifications. There were some of the specializations among many. There are AI testing, game testing, and there is many things. So those ones were one of the popular ones. So they are not the classifications. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For my side, I use that. Thank you for the explanation.
All right, thanks so much. We are already almost 10 minutes behind time. So over time, of course. So thank you. I don't know if you have more questions. Other than that, we will bring the discussion into a close. If you still have questions, feel free to share them with us.